Well, good evening and welcome to the 2022-23 National Honor Society induction. My name is Bill Ames and I am the advisor to the NHS, and this is my 26th year of being advisor, and so welcome. One last note on that before we begin. I told Mr. Butler about 3 weeks ago that whatever I decide, once again, in terms of remaining employed in the Bangor School Department, this will be my last year as NHS advisor, because I think it's really important to be able to train a new advisor, or maybe the old one is still around sometimes, institutional knowledge and all of that. So I have to tell you, as taxpayers and as supporters of the school, it's been a fantastic opportunity that I've had, unmatched. So thank you all. So, welcome, and we would like to begin, as we begin every civic function in Bangor, with a flag salute. So if you will all rise. Flag to my right. Never works out quite as well with the mic, so we'll start and then just pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. It is a real honor to begin the ceremony by inducting the 4 officers who were elected by the members into the society at the beginning of the ceremony. This year has been, to this point, probably one of the most active beginnings of the school year that we have had, and it's because, in part, the officers are not just committed, but they're energized and really committed to what they're doing. So, it's my pleasure to introduce the 4 officers who would like to come on stage. President Grace Bennett, Vice President Nicholas Eberstein, First Secretary Sam Mahola, and Second Secretary Hannah Osmond. If you'll join me on the stage. In all the way the world functions, you may not have noticed that the age of recitation is really kind of over. So we don't do much of recitation. So we're going to recite the National NHS Pledge right now. And it gets a little choppy at times. That seems to be a hallmark of this institution. So, if the 4 of you will repeat after me. I pledge to uphold the high purpose of the National Honor Society to which I have been selected.
I pledge to uphold
the high purpose of the National Honor Society to which I have been selected. I will be true to the principles for which it stands.
I will be true to the principles for which it stands.
I will be loyal to my school.
I will be loyal to my school.
And will maintain and encourage. High standards of scholarship, service, leadership, and character.
High
Standards of scholarship, service, leadership, and character. Thank you. Please have a seat. One of the hallmarks of many organizations here, and certainly of this one, is that it's not a piece of puppet theater. students who lead and maintain membership in the societies are those who actually run the society. I just get coffee. So I'd like to now turn the evening over to our newly elected and sworn-in President Bennett.
All right. Hello, everyone. So the first order of business is now I'm going to welcome my fellow NHS members onto the stage. So if my fellow officers can come and take their positions, I will start naming members. Julia Bassi. Olivia Bassi. Haley Bowen. Catherine Busco. William Karen. Haley Comstock. Anna Connors. Taylor Coombs. Ethan DeMerchant. Evangeline Eastman. Samantha Erb. Bridget Frazier. Sadie Hara. Carlton Hayward. Elijah Herzog. Cassidy Ireland. Taylor King. William Esser. Austin Lozano. Abigail McDonald. Elizabeth, I told you I was going to get it wrong. Isabel Martin. Emma McNeil. Beckett Mundelwood. Ellis Nichols. Annika Nowak. Ethan Partel. Abigail Quinn. Lillian Rice. Emily Rutherford. Ashley Schultz. Elizabeth Speed. Cuthbert Stedman. Emmeline Shreves. Lucas Sun. Genevieve Sichters. And Madison Tritt. Now, after reading all those names, I feel like I should have said hold the applause until after. That is my bad. Now, my fellow members, you're more welcome. I first want to say thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. I am honored to stand before you as president of the Bangor chapter of NHS, and I am more than grateful to be able to introduce this hardworking, goal-oriented, and talented group of students that I am lucky enough to call my peers. Scholarship, leadership, service, and character. The four core values of the National Honor Society. Sitting here before you are students who have been accepted into this nationwide organization, not only for their academic achievements, but for their integrity, for their desire to better themselves and their community, for personal growth, and most importantly, their strive for excellence. Each individual here tonight is a leader. In big ways or small, they are commanders of change. A shoulder to lean on, a tutor to learn from, an inspiration to admire. Tonight we are here to acknowledge their accomplishments and determination. Tonight we celebrate everything that they will do as NHS members and seniors at Bangor High. Over the course of the year, you will see everything the Bangor chapter of NHS is able to accomplish, from fundraisers to tutoring to environmental activism, from our program Work to Play to our community projects, to our members who recently volunteered at the election, and to other community service projects coming soon. You will see a network of like-minded individuals come together to uphold the core values of a 101-year-old organization. You will see the hard work this incredible and motivational group will accomplish. Again, thank you for coming out tonight, and thank you to my peers. Together, let's make this our best year of Bangor's NHS chapter. And now I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, Bangor High School's residential hobbit, otherwise known as Mr. Billings.
Oh, what you do to please the folks. Thank you. One of the things I have always found it hard to do is to speak with my back facing the primary audience. So, there, that's better. I know the profile is a little worn, but now I can see you guys, and you guys are the main reason we're here. So, I received my NHS in my junior year of high school in 1966. That's a really long time ago. And I think that I must be, I could be wrong, the oldest member of NHS in this room tonight. And as I have had the privilege of doing for about 26 years now, it is the most wonderful evening of every year to meet the newest members and the youngest members of NHS. You've already done great things. You're going to do great things. Thank you. When I decided to give the keynote, this being my final year as advisor, I was immediately deluged with Post-it notes. Remember those things before like digital stuff? And some of them said, "Be brief, Bill," and some of them said, "Be upbeat, Bill," and some of them said, "Well, stand as tall as you can, Bill." And as I got all this advice, I decided to make my own Post-it note. And it says, "Say what needs to be said, Bill." And that's what I intend to do. We live in tough times, and sometimes the lighthouses on the shore by which we steer to get caught up in the fogs and storms. So I'd like to leave you with 3 thoughts. 1, seek, demand, and act with justice towards every single person you meet. Don't let anyone who panders to racism or Islamophobia or anti-Semitism or anti-Asian hatred or homophobia, don't let them get in your way. Don't give them the time of day. Don't listen to anybody who tells you that the only color should be white, the only people who give direction should be men, and that the only direction should be straight. Just sweep them aside, stay on the righteous path. 2, seek, demand, and act on economic justice. There will be some people, obviously, in the world who would say, well, We'll never have economic justice because nobody wants a world in which everybody receives the exact same paycheck no matter what they do. Okay, that's their opinion. But that doesn't mean that everybody who contributes to society shouldn't have access to decent, livable, affordable housing. And it doesn't mean that everybody who contributes to society shouldn't be able to enjoy free and meaningful health care. And it doesn't mean that everybody who contributes to society shouldn't be allowed to enjoy their life in a way that they understand will help them prosper in the future. And if anyone says to you, well, yes, I watched that NHS thing, and be careful because you're being groomed. Say, yes, that's right. And then say, remember what the guy said after that? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all are created equal, and they are endowed with certain unalienable rights, including life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. That's the star I steer by. That's the star you steer by. Push everybody else out of your way. And finally, see, demand, and act on climate justice. Now, we all know that despite whatever people want to believe, that this country is actually being affected by climate change. But I want you to consider the continent of Africa. Africa is the second most populated continent on the planet. Africa contributes every year less than 6% of the world's annual output of CO2. And yet, in the last 4 years, West Africa is being ravaged by unremitting floods and destruction, while East Africa is being destroyed by an unending drought and famine. Every single day in Somalia, a mother brings a 5-year-old child who weighs as much as a 1-year-old infant to a Red Cross center pleading for help because they have no food. Climate justice demands respect for all of the people on Earth, and if you're going to practice it, start it in your own backyard. Now, you might say, well, how do I do that? Like, you, Mr. Andrews, you're pretty old. What relevance do you have? I don't have to use me. I want to talk about 3 people who sat in the very seats you're sitting in my tenure as advisor. Let them be your leaders. First, I want to bring up a woman named Jessica Boyle. Jessica Boyle was a committed student at the school who one day, when I was still yearbook advisor, I found at 5 o'clock in the afternoon sitting in the yearbook room reading a book, and I said, it's time to go home. And she said, I can't go home. I'm homeless. And I've run out of couches to live on. In the immediate, our most excellent social worker of that day and I helped to find her housing. She graduated from here. She went to Colby. And in the Christmas time of her freshman year, President Colby issued a statement that said, well, we're closing all the dorms so everybody needs to go home. And she marched right on over to the president's office, knocked on the door and said, excuse me, what are you going to do about all of us who are homeless? And this is true. He said, what? Homeless people here? But he was a really bright man, and what he did was put her immediately in charge as a freshman of gathering the homeless community together, reopening one of the dorms, and that was the beginning of her social activism. She still does that. She still works, and this June will receive her PhD from Stanford in community counseling and psychology. There's one person to follow. Or you can think of Will Witham. Now, William Witham was an amazing young man. He was president of this chapter. He sat on the stage you're sitting on. And he loved 2 things, poetry, but he also loved economic justice. And he couldn't find a course here to learn something. He'd go into deep reading of things. When he graduated from here and proceeded to beginning of his university career, has written a couple of books, and this September, I received an email from someone most of you probably know, Ogechi Obi, who said, "Oh, hi, Mr. Ames. This is Ogechi at Harvard. I just walked into my first political science class, and my professor is a new professor, William Witham, and he came over and said to say hello." So here's a second example of someone who really was committed to something, acted upon it, and is now able to teach those who he sent in more recent days. And that makes me really proud. And finally, I'd like to consider Ogechi's older sister, Ijoma. Ijoma Obi was a climate fanatic. And she was president of this organization a few years ago. And on Climate Action Day, Ijoma came into my room and said, "Well, we're going out on strike." And I said, "What?" And she said, "We're going to join the people of the world and have a climate strike." And I said, "Have you talked to anybody about this?" She said, "No, but I invited the TV stations." So I said to Mr. Butler, "Excuse me, I know you must be doing something, but like in a few minutes you need to make a decision because like there are going to be TV people showing up." "Okay. Well, I will tell you, and I think this is part of Ijoma's really super wonderfulness. She negotiated a position where she did, in fact, and others, take a climate action, and did so while working with the administration of the school. But she knew something had to get done, and she did it. And today we find Ijoma Obi finishing up her undergraduate career at Columbia. All of these people are your lighthouses to what you can do when you leave here today, and there are many others. We all know that homelessness does not occupy simply one group of people. We all know that the climate just doesn't affect one group of people. We all know that economic justice is a goal that will have a long time being reached, but it's possible. And you, all of you, are going to be the leaders that help get us there. As Bruce Springsteen said, "We'll take what we can carry, and the young will lead the rest." And I am ultimately proud and ultimately humbled to be able to be your advisor for this year. Thank you. One tradition we've always had here is that once we induct the officers, as I said at the beginning, it is a student organization run by students. So now, I'd like to invite President Bennett again to the stage to administer the NHS pledge to her colleagues. Now you saw how this went, so break it up better, that's right. So,
All right, if my fellow members could stand. Just as Mr. Ames did, I will read one part of the pledge, we will repeat, and then we will continue, and I will attempt to break it up better. I pledge to uphold the high purpose of the National Honor Society. To which I have been selected. I will be true to the principles for which it stands. I will be loyal to my school. And will maintain and encourage high standards of scholarship, service, leadership, and character. You got this. That's correct. And I welcome everyone to applaud for the 2022 Now everyone will take a seat, and Mr. Ames will continue the show.
Not all of you may know this, but when I was a new teacher here, I taught British literature. And in my first year, one of my first teachers was Mr. Buck. So I had thought about asking him the significance of certain things in, some work of British literature, but I decided probably not. But it is always my honor and privilege to introduce Mr. Butler and say a few words.
And my usual joke is, that was the toughest 2 years of my life in British literature. The opportunity, I say something about Mr. Ames' Bill every year, and I know him as Bill. It was great to come back to Bangor High School and to get to call my former teachers by the first name. So he's Bill to me and the other. What Bill has always brought to the next industry, you felt it, is his belief in place, his belief in young people. He's a scholar, and he's a thinker about the world, and I think in some way or another, the speeches that I've been a part of, and the way that he mentors and instructs kids in big and small ways is about recognizing the world around you, or the things that you have an opportunity to change for the better, and that in some way you've all brought to you here tonight and developed along the way. Mom, Dad, whoever loves you at home, helped you see along the way, and teachers and schools and principals and superintendents who I'll introduce in a minute are part of bringing those things out and give you an opportunity. Ultimately, you're equipped with a set of tools. We've called them tonight the 4 principles of NHS, but there are many, many more that you live by, and many, many more that you've shown. So it's nice to be honored. It's nice to kick off the year with NHS. This is the first of many, but this launches what I call clock nights. Now I'm telling you, this usually plays pretty well in the crowd because it's 100% true. It's pretty rare in life that people will all come to a place one point, one time. You'll stand in front of them and intermittently they'll talk to you about how awesome you are. That gets very rare as life goes on, trust me. So I love that this is we moved it to the fall of the senior year for a reason. We wanted it to be that night where those things that we stand for ultimately, the growth and the commitment that you show as students and in the academic realm, open up those other parts of you, those other 3 elements of NHS that we like to celebrate sort of as a propulsion into the year. And I know this night got shifted around a little bit. And as I shared in my last communication with you about the night, we wanted it to be a night where this was what it was. And there are so many things that so many of you do so well that your nights are filled with I guess, many opportunities to watch you do whatever you do in the nooks and crannies that you do them, whether it be in the classroom, in the theater, in the playing surfaces, or all those other places that take you in so many different directions. But we wanted it to be a night where this was what we were talking about. And it's a brief ceremony, but it's a really meaningful one. The superintendent, Tager, who I've come to work with a couple years now, he introduced a concept that's not a new concept, but he put new personal energy into it. It's the idea that if you take stock of yourself at a point in your year, you scan ahead, and you frame your efforts around one word, and you think about where your commitment in various ways, however you do it, however you contemplate that, and you choose to live that word out, you'll be surprised, and maybe not surprised at where it can take you. I won't share what my word is, but I will share with you, Mr. Tager, that I'm certain this is a group that probably took that challenge, but they certainly have taken the challenge to internalize, not only now, but moving forward, the 4 words of scholarship, leadership, character, and service for the NHS. And I would just like to be the first to, well, not the first now, but I'll be among those that applaud you in your induction to the NHS to launch the year, welcome you to an active chapter, and congratulate you on all that you've accomplished and all that you will accomplish as you close every time you go to high school. So congratulations to you. And at this time, I'd like to invite Superintendent James Tager to address the inductees. Mr. Tager.
Thank you so much. National Honor Society, I am very happy to celebrate with you as students of excellence. Your role models, there are people that look up to you. We have pre-K students all the way to 12th grade, and they look up to each one of you in different ways. I'm also happy to celebrate with caring family members that are here tonight. Thank you for your presence. Also for being here with significant adults on campus. Mr. Bill Ames, 26 years of this, I thank you for your service as NHS sponsor. I thank you for your passion. I thank you for the fact that you brought up some of the students that were sitting right on the stage that are having great accomplishments in their life. And I would tell any of you, do not short sell yourselves. You can do just about anything that you want to do. I want to tell you a little bit where you stand in the world as being a National Honor Society member. But another thing I would like to ask you to do is, when I think about Bill Ames, I think about his passion, I think about what he spoke about tonight, and I think about him as a mentor. And I would encourage each of you to mentor a student. As I look at some of you, I know that you already are, and somebody will relate to you, whether it's a senior all the way to a pre-K student. If you want to mentor somebody this school year, I would really appreciate you serving others above yourself, which is one of the reasons that you're up here. A National Honor Society, interesting, the motto in French is nobility obligates. Whoever claims to be noble must conduct oneself nobly. One must act in a fashion that conforms to one's position. You've all put yourselves in a position that many people would like to be in. I look forward to seeing what you do moving forward when you leave Bangor High School. I'm proud of you as National Honor Society members. And I want to tell you, this is kind of trite, but you are 1 in a million, and you really are 1 in a million. I'm going to quantify that for you. Members are found in 50 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, many U.S. territories, Canada, Asia, and Pakistan. And there are 1 million members of NHS. So if you look at worldwide, you are 1 of 1 million. 1 of 1 million is quite noble. You should be proud as parents. You should be proud of your classmates and of yourselves. I commend you for your leadership, your scholarship, your service, and your character. And when you go last minute, you have to be very quick. So I'm going to re-bring up Mr. Bill Ames. Thank you. Well, the one thing about an NHS induction is they're not really too long. This will actually conclude the business of the evening. And for everyone, you, parents and friends, are absolutely welcome to stay here and take pictures. I do ask you to be careful on using the stairs because it is a theater and everything is painted black. And this, exercise caution. And that across in the cafeteria, there's a small reception for people to say hi to each other. So thank you all for being the people you are and the wonderful human beings that I am proud to work with. And thank you for all coming tonight to support these fine folks who you've been critically important in their lives with. So thank you, good night, and thank you for coming. Now this is the hard part. Then you can go off stage, so just feel free. careful on the steps. Go be